Hello, good day everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Streamlining Document Creation Across the Firm. We're going to give it a couple of minutes just to allow people to join and then we'll get started. So just give us a second. Okay, great. We seem to have a good number now. So let's begin today's presentation. So hello, everybody. Welcome to our Streamlining Document Creation Across the Firm. So first off, just a little confidentiality disclaimer. You are welcome to share the content we present here within your organization. Otherwise, what you learn here should be, please, kept confidential. Today, I'm your host, Neil McLaughlin. I manage the sales engineering team here at Litera for the international region, and I'm joined today by our sales engineer for the US, Jeanne Haske. Few notes on some housekeeping items to optimize your presentation in today's webinar. Let's go through a few housekeeping items. Our presentation will last just about 30 minutes, after which we will begin answering questions entered into the GoToWebinar Q&A panel. All participants are muted, so please drop your questions in the questions section and we'll get round to them during the Q&A session. For questions that we don't have time to address during the session today, you will receive an emailed list of our responses. The session is being recorded and you will also receive an email with a link to the recording afterwards. On the agenda today, we're going to discuss the challenges that law firms have with document creation and the need to modernize it. We're then going to talk about how Litera Create meets these requirements, how it benefits law firms, and also give you a quick demonstration. But first, let's briefly go through how Litera helps your firm amplify impact across the practice and the business of law. Our products support key workflows and departments, allowing you to use a breadth of technology to ensure efficiency, profitability, and security, empowering legal and business professionals to focus on their craft. So where we're focusing today is with Litera Create in our drafting for legal work line of business, where we'll go through our templating and content solutions, but we also have a wealth of other products available in our firm performance area, so knowledge management, experience, finance, talent, HR. And also on our firm governance side, where we look at provisioning, metadata cleaning, and searching dark data. So now let's talk about how challenging document creation is for law firms. Legal professionals are busy, so they try to be efficient. Busy professionals that need to get documents created will try their best to devise efficient processes that will simply use the dupe and revise method. Without proper technology support, legal professionals are more likely to reuse previous documents or exemplars as templates for the new documents. They manually revise information within the document, editing names, dates, client and matter numbers, amounts, etc. And they'll also manually edit clause language or spend significant time looking for the right clauses by looking through various systems, documents, or reaching out to other colleagues. Legal professionals that have some form of technology to help may be using legacy solutions that may not have flexible templating, may not have a content library, or they don't integrate with critical systems. As a result, your firm is exposed to the risk of accidental sharing of sensitive data that is left over from previous documents and the risk of delivering documents with errors that damage not just your reputation, but also client trust. This is where Litera Create can help. Litera Create enables legal professionals to efficiently create high-quality first drafts that enhance client satisfaction and mitigate the risk of reputational damage. The document creation platform streamlines creating the first draft by 85%. With modules on templates and content, the platform allows the creation of a first draft faster by relying on enterprise-approved templates and has an available content library that knowledge managers can curate to provide up-to-date and relevant content. Within Litera Create templates, users will have the ability to create any type of document template for simple and complex documents, all while maintaining firm house styles. The tool supports integration with other systems such as time and billing, experience management, such as our foundation platform, and many others. With Litera Create content, knowledge managers can curate content libraries to provide firm wisdom and experience for legal professionals. Content libraries can be curated with the most relevant language and provided as a firm-wide library with the ability to further curate practice group and individual content libraries. When inserting content in a document, it maintains document formatting to ensure consistency. Through Litera Create content, firms ensure that the language in their firm documents is consistent and updated, meeting firm and client standards and mitigating the risk of mistakes. Here's a few testimonials from what our clients have to say about Litera Create. I'm here from a director of AM Law 200 firm. Once we got it on their machines, they didn't want it off. So after a successful pilot, the firm moved forward. Another desktop engineer from an AM Law 100 firm. Instead of having to wait 2 weeks for a new or modified template, users can have it in 1 or 2 days. And then finally, with entry-level associates that are drafting like 2 to 3 year attorneys without much intervention. So some great feedback there. So with that, let's now hand over to Jeanne and we'll go through a demonstration of Litera Create.
Thanks. All right, let me get this. All right, let's get started. So Litera Create, like Neil said, is templates as well as content. It also includes number, table of contents, and doc ID. I'm just going to show templates and content, what Neil talked about today. So first thing that I want to do is pull up my library of templates that I have access to. What you can see here is that library. This is organized in a few sections visible on this left section here. So top section, things that I use all the time, things that I favorited off. I'm always creating letters, engagement letters, so I favorited these things off. Also can see things that have been shared with me. Second section, this is user specific. So if I'm a litigation attorney, mine might look something like this with letters, memos, faxes, pleadings. But if I'm in trust and estates, this will look something different. And then this third section, I still have access to all of the templates, just things I might not use as often, like labels. So I'm going to start off with creating an engagement letter. I select OK, and then you can see here that this is retrieving that template, giving me that information. You can see this template's up on my screen here, and then on the right is where I will interact and enter the information for my specific engagement letter. I'm purposely selecting engagement letter because I want to show how the firm can manage one engagement letter with some options within here, and that will make more sense as I start to work through this. So first thing, I'll select the author. This recognizes me as the author, but if I'm working with other individuals, I have those as a drop down in their specific office location to make that letterhead specific to their office. Tab down into this next section and you can see it highlights in the letter where this will be entered in delivery phrases. This can be a text box, and then I can also have this as a drop down. So there's a number of out of the box options, but if the firm has something else that they'd like to include, these can be added as well. Tabbing into recipients, this too is a text box that I can enter who this needs to be. However, we can leverage data that the firm already has. I select that blue icon, and then I have my options, have access to my Outlook address book, interaction, wherever the firm's contact information resides. I can filter across this and bring in who that recipient is, immediately comes in to this template on the right, cuts down on that typing and the risk of error of having a typo within that recipient information. I will point out that none of this is being entered into my letter until I select finish at the end, so that I'm just focused in this right section. Rayline, I'll continue to fill this out. You can see options there as far as bolding, italicize, and underlining. And then salutation, just so you can see some basic logic here. So when I selected that recipient, immediately my salutation, I have options for including that recipient's first and last name for that salutation. Go ahead, I'll skip a couple of these for time. I want to get to matter types. So what I mentioned was the ability to manage fewer engagement letters with the options that are in the template. So here, when I select litigation, this text that we've made it green so it's visible as to what that text that corresponds with that option is. So if I select litigation, this green text will be included in my engagement letter. And if I select transactional, this blue text will be included. Next thing here is recognizing that there's different types of fee agreements for different engagement letters. Calculation of fees, when this is currently on hourly, my option here is billing rates. And if I select fixed, that changes to flat fee. So making this so that it's specific and managing that here. And then engagement or in conflicts language, whether or not I need that included in specific language that will come in if I would like that conflicts language. So some examples of how that can be built out. I'll go ahead and select finish, and then everything that I entered on the right will come in to my engagement letter, and I'm all set. That's what I wanted to show as far as a letter and that engagement letter. I'll go ahead and we'll select a new workflow so that you can see some additional ways that I can leverage data that the firm has. Under my favorites, this can be, I can create agreements if I'm in transactional. I can also create and access my pleading papers. I'm going to do that today. And instead of selecting, okay, I am going to point this to data. So whether this is firm data that the firm has, or I have saved off data, or someone has shared data. So if I'm regularly creating court documents for a specific client, I can find where I've saved that off and access it. So I'm always creating pleadings and discovery for ABC company. I'll enter that information here. And now the same workflow that we saw with that engagement letter, but instead of having to enter everything on the right, a lot has already come in for me. I can update the court document title. I'm going to go ahead and make this some responses for discovery. And as I select any of these fields, I can still update them if anything changed, or I'm making this for a different case number, whatever it may be. And then when I click finish, same workflow, it'll come in. I can click finish, or I can select finish and show library. So leading us to that content, knowing that the template gets us so far and that now I need to enter the language that's specific to the document that I'm working on. So when I select that finish and show library, my content library appears on the right. Everything came in within that template, and now I can focus on the content of my document. Neil mentioned that this can be organized, this content. I have access to my content. I can also access the practice group content, the trust and estates content, or litigation, as well as the firm content. I can search across all of that content to find specific language that I'm looking for that's already been drafted, saving me the time of looking for it on the DMS and trying to navigate other discovery responses that have been drafted so that I can insert that language. When I select one of these, I'll see when I saved it, where it came from, and then also a preview of that language. I can double click, I can drag and drop, and my language comes into my document when I bring that in. I have intentionally made this so that I'm responding on behalf of the defendants, and this language is responding on behalf of plaintiffs. So I need to enter and select defendants and update this to be plaintiffs. So this is helpful so that I've had this language, but it would be better if I am prompted to enter that defendants and plaintiffs. So I'm going to show the same paragraph, but this time when I'm prompted to bring that language in. So showing how we can revise language and reduce finding that language here. So now I'm going to enter for that party, defendants, and plaintiffs, same workflow, but reducing the risk that I forget to enter and update those parties. So same paragraph. That's one party. I can also do this on a bigger scale. So if I have objections that I regularly use, these general objections, you can see that preview. And I'm going to bring those objections into my document. And this time you can see that everywhere where party will be entered is at the beginning of these, and I only need to enter it the one time instead of doing a find and replace. I can make this defendants. So workflows as far as being able to reuse that language that often gets entered in repeatedly into documents. That's what I wanted to show as far as that content. Now that I've entered in all of my responses to those discovery responses, and now I need to create a proof of service. I'm going to show just another neat workflow here. Going back to that library, I can create a proof of service at the same time if I'd like to, but if I've forgotten to, I can create that here. And instead of saying okay, I'm going to use and leverage the data that I've already have in my existing document. Okay. And then I'll see my proof of service on the screen, and that all of that information that I had from my discovery responses will be entered on the right. I have some additional options here if this is federal court or not. I can update anything that I need to. If I need to include the service list, I have options there, as well as including the electronic signature. So being able to leverage that data and not having to re-enter it for creating those additional documents with that document. So those were a couple workflows that I wanted to show as far as creating templates, leveraging those templates that the firm has, and entering and reusing language to create those documents. And that's for my demo.
Great, thanks, Jeanne. That was really useful. We have had a couple of questions come back in whilst we've been talking. Let me just show my screen again. So first off, there's a link there and a QR code if you would like to find out some more information and speak to one of our team. Whilst we have a couple of minutes left, let's also look at a couple of questions that have come in. So, Jeanne, first off, the question comes in saying, who is responsible for updating and managing the templates?
Good question. So part of implementation is administrators will be trained. We have training sessions and train the trainers so that individuals are empowered and have the knowledge to be able to update any templates as well as create their own templates.
Great. And also, how is this hosted?
It is a web services application that's hosted by Litera.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's what we got there. There are some other questions, but we will get back to you on those as we've fortunately run out of time today. So as I'd like to say from Jeanne and myself, thanks everyone for your time. I hope that was useful. Please get in touch if you would like more information. And of course, we will send a link to this recording out to you and follow up on any outstanding questions. So thanks again, everyone, for your time, and have a great day.
Thanks.